Look, you're the one that's replaying a game you've played a bajillion times, alright? I want to hear it. I'm going to do magic only Kingdom Hearts. Right after I just did 100% Kingdom Hearts. This will be the second time I've played a lot of these games. And that's an entire series that you've already played. And you're doing it again for the second time. Just saying. There's a lot of games you could be playing too. The only other I play more are 2 and 3. There's actually have replayability. Kinda, right? Like the same replayability Bayonetta and Devil May Cry have. You just master the combat. Same with Sifu too. Which is weird, right? Because like random tangent here, people want to loop the Dark Souls series into that kind of like replayability of mastering the combat, but not really. There, like the game's more. I mean, you don't like you master the bosses, but once you've mastered them, you've kind of done it, right? There's no like complex, intricate combos like the other games. Just something I randomly thought of because of this conversation, but it's true. I don't think Dark Souls is in the same category. You're mastering how to dodge patterns, but after that, I mean, it's not like you do anything. It's not like you yourself do anything intense. Sekiro is different, kinda. Replace dodging for sword parrying and stance. And stance like what is like stance crippling. It's effectively the same thing in just a cooler anime style, right? Like instead of dodge rolling the big guy's arm swings or club hits, you're fucking sword clashing and sword deflecting this big old fucking anime katana, ching 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 ching, and then like after that you go like, wow, it's like, oh man, I got him. And you have the stance break. You get to wail on him for a minute. Even that little bit makes Sekiro a superior combat system for the sake of combat itself. True, but here's the thing. Elden Ring combines them both. Because not only do they focus on stance breaking in Elden Ring, but they also focus on RPG. They also focus on RPG skill usage at the same time. So you get best of both worlds. And they added more defensive options too. But I mean, shields are kind of a meme, even though. Look, don't get me wrong. They added the attack. They added the retaliation attacks after successfully blocking an attack, and of course, you can always parry things. But let's be honest. Nobody uses the shield retaliation attacks. Everybody just like, you know, like parries it. Nobody shields boss attacks. Nobody. They tried to make it a thing in Elden Ring, but it's not a thing. It's not real. You don't do that. You just dodge it, and then you retaliate. Elden Ring is carried by hitbox porn? Not really. I mean, yes and no, right? Like, I think it depends on the monster that you're fighting. I think there are some creatures that have really stupid monster hunter like hitboxes, like the root beast. Root beast is very much like monster hunter, where the monster just does like a bunch of charging attacks and their entire body glow like does the fucking is a hitbox. AKA would glow red essentially. Okay, fuck you. And then you have shit like Melania. Literally pixel perfect on the swords. You can literally, if you're in the correct positioning, you can literally just back off while she does her like anime swings. You can literally walk off the attack, which is fucking cool, by the way. So I think you actually have both sides of it. Where is it? Oh, here. There we go. Every montage I see of it is motherfuckers dodging shit precisely with the waterfowl dance or whatever and shit like that. If the technique puts them into a mobile animation, it's been used to dodge an attack before one-shotting. Yes. The high level anime attacks are very precise, and I very much appreciate them for that too. It's super cool. There we go. One of the things I will say though is I like Elden Ring a lot, but I do have like a bit of an issue with the combat a little bit. It's kind of weird. I don't know. I think it's a personal preference thing. I still think it's like I still think it's like the second best Souls game easily, or sorry, not second best, best Souls game, second to 3. But well, you're not seeing the common man, so there's that. But like, that's what I'm trying to get to though. Not magic abuse, but like skill abuse. Like, so one of the big things I have with Elden Ring is they incentivize you they incentivize you crushing people's stances to get riposte, right? Like you do enough big attacks that do stance damage and obviously damage itself too, but you do the you do this like most of the time you just do your weapon arts on things and you can kind of like mash those. Wait, I watched you play. All you did was the wind sword on the snake bitch. Oh, that's different though. I think every Souls game has that sword in it as like a thing. That's like a thing. That's different. Yes, I see what you're saying, but that's like a different thing. That's they've had that sword since Demon Souls. Because for some reason, they love having a gimmick boss fight where you have to use a specific weapon to kill it. And in that case, it's a fucking wind sword that shoots giant wind beams. Whether you're killing a giant manta ray and their children, or you're killing a giant, a literal Yorm the giant, or you're killing a fucking snake, a giant snake, or a dragon. For some reason, that sword comes back, and you gotta use it. And I don't know why. I don't know who on the dev team is so in love with that fucking gimmick, but they keep bringing it back. But no, that's the one thing that, have you seen this? I don't know the videos you're talking about. Oh wait, the montage videos? Yeah, I've seen those montage videos. Yeah. I've seen those videos. I like watching his videos. They're cool. But no, that's like one of my things with the combat in Elden Ring. It's great and everything, but like Dark Souls bosses versus Elden Ring bosses. Oh, those? No, I haven't seen those. I haven't seen a versus. See, that's the problem though. Like, like Dark Souls 3 is a great example, by the way. I'm glad you brought that up for different reasons, obviously, but Dark Souls 3 versus Elden Ring is a great comparison for this, because like one of the main problems I have with both games actually is you don't really use your entire weapons moveset until like PvP. Unless your weapon actually has like a little bit of versatility to it. But like, here's the thing. In Elden Ring, you weapon art spam because there's stance in Elden Ring. Elden Ring is the first Souls game to introduce stance from Sekiro, right? I think Bloodborne had some stance stuff in it, but you needed to shoot the gun at the right time to fuck with people's attacks. You could riposte that way. It was a different way to break stances, and not like Elden Ring. With Elden Ring, it really is like a special attack simulator with good builds. And I'm not saying bad builds play old school, but the problem is like that's what really fucked me up when I was first playing that game. You can't play that game old school. Like from Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, I was trained to roll the attacks and then like R1 light attack because that'll do the damage you need, and or like R2 if you're feeling quirky, right? Like, you know, whatever does the damage. I literally throughout 3 entire games, I barely used weapon arts as a melee person. Hell, weapon arts weren't really a thing until 3 because Dark Souls 1 and 2, casters had spell slots and spell charges, so there wasn't even a mana bar. So like sometimes you had a special move on melee weapons in those older games, but like you didn't really use it. It was like PvP stuff. It didn't really matter. You just dodge the boss, slap him a few times with your R1. That's some good damage right there if you succeeded. And you just do that over and over. In Elden Ring, like, obviously the attacks were slower, so I was like, okay, good. That means, yeah, I get why people say this game's easier, because I have more time to get my little slaps in. But not only do I notice that they're not doing as much damage, but enemies have more resistance to lighter attacks in that game, right? So you're slapping them, and then sometimes they can be like, eh, fuck it, nah, you're still gonna hit. Like, huh? That's not how that works. I slapped you. Can't do that. He said, no, so that's good. That's like a lot of enemies in this game. They teach you that too. It's like, nah, bro. You gotta weapon art spam. You gotta use your big moves that use the funny blue bar, and then you're gonna break their stance, and then they're gonna be on the ground and you're gonna post them. Which I think is cool, but also kind of weird, because I don't know, it's they're both the two extremes, right? One game, you use like 0 weapon arts and you just spam R1 and slap people. The other game, you spam weapon arts and you stance break someone to get big damage. Elden Ring, if you're gonna spam something, at least the weapon arts not only look cooler, they have cool special moves, and they do special properties like different elemental effects and stuff. But they also stance break people so you can go in for riposte to do even more damage. So in the end, if I'm gonna spam something, Elden Ring is cooler to spam, like one move. But the problem is that I'm not using my light moves or my heavy moves really. Like, I think the closest thing I can think of when it comes to using those moves is when I've used my weapon art to hurt someone and they're staggered, and I have some time to slap them to finish like the last 15% of their health bar, right? I've done that plenty of times, especially since I've mostly used fast weapons because my first run of the game was a caster, and they typically just have lighter weapons, so they're faster, right? And they're scaling to my big brain, so of course they're doing good damage. But it's like, I was like really the only time I was actually using that. And heavy attacks are kind of a joke, because if you want, you have to kind of really charge them. I think heavy attacks get cucked the most in this scenario, because if you want their stance damage to be comparable to a weapon art, you have to charge them for longer and for sometimes less damage than you would get if you just pressed left trigger once or twice, depending on how the move works, right? Like heavy attacks really get cucked. And those are the moves that are really PvP oriented at this point. So they really flip things on their head. So that's why I think Elden Ring is like the best beginner friendly game, because even melees kind of like use a lot of skills. Or what they're doing is, here's the thing about melees too. Melees, like big strengthy boys, or sometimes dexy boys depending, like, oh, what's up, Banjo? Like, those guys, they will, like, so they brought back a mechanic from Dark Souls 2 where when you use 2 of the same weapon, you get entirely special moves because you're wielding 2 of the same weapon. And that's where melees get like their kind of like weapon art spam, right? That's why I think that's why I think melees are actually super interesting in this game, because they actually get to use their entire moveset. And that's kind of FromSoft giving them the comparable versatility to being a caster. Like, have you seen Banjo? I have seen Banjo. I love Banjo-Kazooie. But like, so melees have a lot of things they can do, right? They can, melees can jump attack with their weapons to do a lot of stance damage and a lot of good damage there. So you already have one really good way to do that. Then you have just doing left bumper. Once you have 2 of the same weapon equipped and they're both in your hands, you can press left bumper to do those special attacks, and they do big damage. They do really good stance damage if they are if they're heavy weapons, and sometimes if they're dex weapons, they still do big stance damage because they just want to reward you for committing to that, right? And then if you still want faster moves, you have R1, which is just your standard single hand with one of those weapons and all that. It's like you have a lot of versatility there. Now, I'm not saying I love melee in Elden Ring, but I think it's super unique because they make those, they give a lot more precedent to those kind of like special, like the special abilities of dual wielding for melees. But that's still also kind of a problem because low key as a melee, you're throwing if you're not dual wielding a little bit. You can certainly single hand, but then you're kind of going back to weapon art spamming if you want to do a lot of stance damage, which is you know, kind of ties back to one of my main problems there, is like in the end it all kind of comes back to weapon art spam if you're not doing like very specific, like special class specific things, like melees doing their dual wields, or maybe like shield bros actually using their retaliate attack after blocking. That does really good stance damage, by the way. It's underrated. I just don't think it's something you really should do. It's not worth it, but it's cool, right? Like the rare time you actually get to hold a charge attack to break stance that way. And then of course casters using their big spells and their big moves from their magic weapons, right? Casters, it's Dark Souls. Casters can't fully cast. Oh, Elden Ring is the closest game we have to what full casters could be in a Souls game. You are still, you still need a weapon for those times where maybe you don't want to use it, or there's like or like they're too close and you're a little worried about casting right now, that kind of thing. So, you know, it's certainly one of the better combat systems because, you know, in the end, I think if you want to, you can use your weapon's entire moveset, but you're not using R1 and R2, basic light and heavy attacks, on a lot of situations nearly as much. Like, you're kind of saving those for, like, just lighter enemies. And then you kind of pull out the big boy stuff for bigger enemies, which, I mean, makes sense when you think about it, but I don't know. It's more of a personal beef, because I don't personally love it, but I still have a lot of fun with it. Anyway, that's my TED Talk rant that kind of doesn't really mean there's anything wrong with the game. It's still the best Souls game. For like pretty much everybody. It's just a personal weird thing that I've noticed that I thought was a little awkward with how the Souls games kind of handles that stuff. Because like once you get used to it, it's not that bad, right? At least for me. Like, I guess, you know, I was like, you know, at the very beginning, I was like, oh well, why are my R1s not really working and doing a lot of damage? Okay, well, I'll just trade in that time where I would do like 3 little smacks, and I'll just do 1 weapon art, and that really worked, by the way. Like, square off, or the katana sheath thing, or like a bunch of this kind of attacks. Like, you just spam this and you're just cooking. So it's fun for that. You don't have a lot of reason to. You don't have a lot of reason to try to sneak in those attacks. Unless you're just cracked and you want to maximize damage. I don't really want to listen to Shovel Knight. Oh yeah, let me see what this is, by the way. Need this, hold on. Yo, Yorm's so based, bro. Oh shit, they modded Yorm in there. Oh, that's what you mean. The fucking the Pokemon boss battles. Yes. Oh, these videos. I see what you're saying now. I didn't realize this is what you meant. I thought you meant like a discussion video. No. These videos are cool. I like them. Yorm's DS3 stats and shit just go fucking burr in Elden Ring. Yes! That's the thing. These are 2 entirely different combat philosophies. That's exactly what I was talking about. Things in Dark Souls 3 don't have stance. You can't break stance. That's why R1 spam for decent damage while you dodge moves was the way. You don't do any other moves. You just slap R1 with your light attacks that do really good damage. And that's it. There is no stance to break. Those guys are fucking invincible. Like, seriously. Almost every Dark Souls 3 boss should destroy an Elden Ring boss, because all of their moves would do insane stance damage to the Elden Ring bosses. They would cripple them. Because stance breaking is probably the most player-friendly mechanic they've added to a Dark Souls game. Because like with Sekiro was really big about anti-RPG, right? Like no RPG, fight the boss, figure out its pattern, figure out its blocking patterns, and then break its stance by being good at deflecting and then sneaking in your own attacks, right? That's why stance breaking is like a very player friendly mechanic, because like I said, you can just you can use your weapon's ability, spam that shit, and then just annihilate. And the purpose, I don't mind that. I think it's fucking cool. As someone that has done every game in this series a few times now, it is probably some of the most fun I've had playing a FromSoft game, even if it is the easiest. And I'm not looking for difficulty when I play FromSoft games, which I know is kind of like weird. I don't know. Not like I don't play the easiest route, I guess, but I'm not in here fucking white knighting the difficulty or anything. I just think the challenge that they present to me is fun, if that makes sense. Anyway, you'd be right, but there are at minimum 2 bosses who just roll every boss they meet. Ilkith and Melania don't play fair with the other bosses by any means. Well, yeah, because they're high. Like, I know. I forget Malekith. I'm doing another Elden Ring playthrough soon, so I'll try to. That'll be where I get most of my info, because I haven't played that game enough to remember a lot of it. But I know Millennia would stomp almost every boss from the entire series, because she is of the old ways, dude. Millennia is of the old ways. Fast on her feet, quick attacks that do big damage. I don't know if I was gonna make that back. Wait, I just realized you actually intended on playing Olimar. Who hurt you? Or are you like a believer? Is Serpent an Ollie believer? Alright, I'm back. I had to take a call. Malekith does batshit insane bleed and Melania steals health on hit. Oh, Malekith, yes. I remember him. Yeah, that boss was cool. Yeah, he had those like giant areas of blood, of like blood and bleed. It was like kind of like a weird like mini DPS like stance check a little bit because you had to make sure he had to stop casting that stuff before you bled to death. That was actually kind of cool. How is Sturban playing? Why are you playing? Like, genuinely, I'm not really shitting on you or anything. I'm just curious. Doesn't seem like your style. You seem like the kind of guy that shit on Olimar. Did you like lose a bet or something? Dude, that hitting behind you, I always thought was so busted. What's up, video game enjoyer? Oh, nothing much. Guess you're too small for that. Dude, have it. An Olimar with double Pikmin is an exercise in or double purple is an exercise in patience for sure. Yeah, baby. Yeah, we end it right. Left foot stomp. Ooh, why did that turn around? I feel that. I can also feel that the net here won't let me do as much fun stuff. I was curious if I could grab that. Who hurt you? These are not the characters you like to play. What happened to the star but I know? You have to apologize for your SD. It's not like you made me SD. I'm sorry you're getting distracted during the game, though. You know, that does suck. Oh, where'd my up air go, bro? No. How did I know when you were gonna press it exactly? Kick of Doom. Yeah. I'll get my friend is Smash going something with his friend. Who you don't know. It was also like Smash. Trying to help him through it. Hey, respect. I cannot believe that worked. Ah, they were trying way too hard to be saucy there. The fact that Charizard's up, he has that slight angle toward the right or left. Depending on how you point it, I always thought it was kind of more of a curse and a blessing. Honestly, if you're gonna pick a Pokemon trainer, just pick him up as your main. Not because I think they're necessarily super difficult, but because you're gonna be putting a lot of time into them learning 3 characters at once like that. And how they combine themselves. Where was that? Yo, what's up? No way bro's throwing his Pokemon trainer training because he doesn't want to play Ivysaur. Which most people consider the best of the three. Ivysaur ain't the best, Squirtle easily. Depends on how you look at it. I mean, that's the thing. Even though it's a Charizard main, there is a PT that does pretty well being a Charizard main. Realistically, the best two are equally Ivysaur and Squirtle, and it depends on your playstyle. And then that makes one or the other better. But most people argue that Ivysaur universally is better. I'm thinking of secondarying him. I mean, like, you gotta know all the Pokemon if you want to be a good Pokemon trainer. It's kind of how it works, but... While there is success with people who specialize in one of the three, realistically, you kind of want to be really good at two of the three, and you can kind of have like a lesser one. But no, Ivysaur's super important. He's too important for the character. Not using him is just basically throwing. Even Atelier, who is the Squirtle main, uses a lot of Ivysaur because he's too good not to use, and he has a lot of important situations that he covers. It's like if Game & Watch didn't use Chef to cover Ledge. It's like, why not? You know? I'm not saying you're not, just advocating for the fact that if you really care about playing PT, you gotta have a good Ivysaur. Or else just stop playing if you don't like him. Way too integral. Appreciate the follow though. Yeah. Optimally, you should either be a Squirtle main or an Ivysaur main, and then everyone kind of uses Charizard for pretty much the same situations. Because Charizard is great for a heavy, but he's not that great, especially compared to the other two. Why are you mashing up smash? That's not even the good one. Why are you mashing smash attacks on Squirtle? Oh, you messed that up, buddy. You should have down aired on the ledge there. I realized I jumped too high to make that work. Did you indeed? You got a lot to learn if you like Bulbasaur, buddy. Or not Bulbasaur, Squirtle. Why did I say Bulbasaur? Smash attacks should not be on your mind. Those things are bad because they're too slow to confirm into his jab locks. F tilt's really busted on shield. By the way, it's really good at shield pressure. Also stuff like falling there, falling fair into grabs in the rising aerials, stuff like that. This up smash range goes pretty hard. I mean, yeah, but that's not what you're focused on with Squirtle at all. You're focused on whiff punishing and being hard to hit because you're a tiny character. If you want range, go to Ivysaur. That's why he's there. It's lucky I didn't mean to angle it up. Oh, why did my chat just Hold on, my chat just decided to turn off. There. Why does that blue right now? I can't see chat right now because Restream decided to just literally log me out for no reason. So. Hold on guys, I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna turn off stream for a second so I can fix my chat. I will be right back.